I didn't have anything left. And in that moment, I kept going. So it was really tough for me to have to be dealing with all of these problems and then also have to take care of, my kids. I was mainly a visual artist right before this. And then once ChatGPT came out, I just became obsessed. It's actually pretty simple. Like, I never imagined that I would be here in a million years. It's really easy to think that you are set in stone and that you only have this direction with your life because of what you know. That's not true.
Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. Today we have a special guest, Bianca, who many of you may recognize from my community. She has been an original member of my Discord, original member of my Accelerator on the $59 plan when we released that. And today she's going to be sharing her extremely interesting story from being an artist to being an AI entrepreneur and startup founder, raising a pre-seed capital to fund her idea. And we're also going to get to see a little bit of a demo at the end of what she's built. So I think this is a great opportunity to bring a woman on the channel, which is something I've been critiqued for in the past. So Bianca knows that we've been in touch with her for a long time through the Accelerator and through the Discord. And I think this is really cool, not only for other women looking to see an example of what they can do, but just anyone generally in the space showing how you can take an idea that you find. And I'm really interested in learning the process you went through for finding the person to fund the business that you've started now. So I think there's a lot of important stuff to cover. And of course, thank you for coming on and giving us your time.
Of course, I'm happy to be here.
Sweet. So we can jump straight into a little bit of your background and where you're from, where you came from before the AI space. I think is pretty important to touch on.
Yeah. So growing up, I was always an artist involved in all of the arts. I was mainly a visual artist right before this, and I also had day jobs. As an artist, you have to have a lot of jobs to get by, but I made a solo animated pilot, and then I also have an augmented reality children's book that I made. So that was kind of my introduction into technology in general. And then once ChatGPT came out, I just became obsessed, started learning everything that I could, and realized that it could actually help me completely streamline all of the things that I actually have to do on a day-to-day that I do not enjoy doing.
So that was the artist side of things. You were doing that as a supplement to your other business, right? Or to your job as a property manager, right? So if you want to go into that and how that experience and also understanding ChatGPT revealed the opportunity for you to build this business that you're now running.
Yeah. So years back, we bought our first rental properties, and we were really thinking that this was going to be like passive income. It's going to be so great. And it just wasn't. It was so much work than what we had expected. Like, I was waking up in the mornings with all of these missed calls, all of these text messages, and all of these tenants who had real problems and real needs with like maintenance emergencies, complaints. And then they also just wanted to tell me about their lives. And I would have to, be their therapist in many instances. And it just was a really big time. I won't say waste, but it was a lot of time spent on that maybe didn't need to be spent there. And then I also have a family. So it was really tough for me to have to be dealing with all of these problems and then also have to take care of, my kids and handle real life.
Yeah, and for those of you who haven't been part of the Discord and my Accelerator, you won't know that when Bianca comes on the calls, she's often got kids climbing all over them, all over her, looking after them. So I've always admired your ability to juggle not only the property management responsibilities you have, but also being part of the community and being so active, and also being able to be a great mother to the kids you have. So it's a big kudos from me because it's more than I could handle for sure. So now that we know a bit on the background of where you've come from, you want to tell us more about where you're at right now and the story of how you came from sort of this idea, coming through the Accelerator, and then being able to jump on this opportunity. And it's been so awesome seeing you go from strength to strength in this. I remember when I first heard about you raising the capital, I was like, wow, I can't believe that there's someone out of the Accelerator doing this so quickly. And you've just gone from strength to strength. So if you want to dive into where you're at right now and how you got to this point more recently.
Awesome. Yeah. So I have a lot of stories. I have a lot of learnings from this time. It's crazy how much you can do in a whole year. I think we underestimate ourselves. And if you just work hard and if you just keep going day,
It's a consistency, right?
yeah, it's really just consistency. And even, I want to say, like an hour a day will lead to something great. When you start a business, it is not an hour a day. It's more like 24 hours in the day and 7 days a week. It really started with this initial idea. I first started working with people. I made like some initial prototypes. And I would say I've had a lot of lessons in discernment in working with people. You won't necessarily know who's good to work with and who's not good to work with until you have some hard lessons. I initially had like an IP theft situation, which was really tough on me. It almost felt like I didn't have anything left. And in that moment, I kept going. I talked to a friend. I asked to be in contact with a lawyer. And then I spoke to an IP lawyer. The more that I spoke to this lawyer that I had met, the more we got to know each other, the more that we really clicked. And she actually ended up becoming my co-founder. So
Awesome.
that was like first win. She is an exceptional woman. Her name is Mirna Balul, and she is an IP and corporate attorney. She is just exceptional. She's also on her second AI company, and she's an experienced executive and a strategist. So that was number one, great partnerships. So then I had already applied to a whole bunch of like accelerator programs. A lot of these will expect you to have an MVP made. An MVP is minimal viable product. So just something that's functional that you can show off. At this stage, we didn't have any.
Just for the people who may not have the context, do you want to give them a little bit of like, yes, we know the property management, but how exactly you identify that as a problem to solve, just in case people aren't fully up to speed. So like you on the day to day is the use case around completely automating a job, or just so we've got a bit of context on what exactly it is here?
Yeah. Okay. So when I started my company years back, I had no idea what I was doing. And I would face all of these issues, all of these complaints, all of these things. And you just have to figure it out. And if you own these properties, your property is at stake because things break and you need to fix them quickly so that your property stays up to date. And if there's a leak or something, it needs to be fixed immediately, or there could be damage to the property. There's also a lot of like emotional distress that tenants go through, like if they can't pay their rent, or if they are just having stuff go on in their lives that they need to offload. A lot of times that also comes to you as a property manager. You're kind of handling all of these things that people cannot handle on their own. They look to you for help.
And so this is distinct from the short-term rental of Airbnbs, where you have like the managers who are juggling like the property that I'm at here. There's someone who kind of manages me. This is more just regular rentals, and that it's like you have a longer term tenant, so you have more time to build a relationship with them, right? Because I was like, I wouldn't really be going to my Airbnb host and complaining. So it's proper rentals and longer term tenancies. Okay.
Yeah. So these are long-term residential properties. Most properties in the United States are like single family rentals. And most landlords in that space are from like 1 to 4 properties. So they're not like larger landlords. They're more like mom and pops who have bought a few properties and they want this to be like their retirement.
And yeah, they actually just signed themselves up for another job.
Yeah. So without knowing it, they are signing up for something that's way more intensive than what they had imagined. And that's what happened to us.
And so that led you to, now we sort of come full circle, and you go through the process of, I mean, you came into the accelerator and you looked at the agency model, but I think you're more interested in solving what I highly recommend everyone else to do is if you've got a problem right in front of you, then that's the best. You know that problem and that pain inside out. So if you have experience in a role or you're doing something currently, I think the way that you've done it is excellent, and trying to go straight to the source and saying, I know everything about how to solve this, or I know basically all I need to know to get this thing started. What made you make that jump, and how did you really get into reaching out to these accelerators and trying to get the funding? What was that switch in your mind? Was like, I need to go and get money to start this rather than trying to do it from scratch on your own?
So my original goal was to replace myself. I didn't want to really have to do everything that I had been doing. It was very stressful for me. And granted, it's not at a place right now technologically where you will be able to fully replace yourself. The legal system in the United States is also a little bit further behind, where everything is still manual. You still have to send certified mails. You still have to go in person. But aside from those things, everything can be automated. And since I know what I do on a daily basis and everything that I need to be doing, it was easy for me to say, okay, I would want this to be automated here. I would love to be able to, not have to coordinate between maintenance and tenants. And that takes a lot of time out of my day. Like if that could be gone, then I could get a lot of time back and then I could spend it in another location where I feel would add more value to my life.
Okay. And so the funding process, what did you actually have to scrape together? You said that they expected an MVP, but you said you got funded at the idea stage. So can you walk us through the process of you getting that money and going through I remember it was quite a laborious task for you. So can you walk us through the process of one, finding the accelerators and finding ways to get money, your research on that side, then also the process of actually going through and getting that, and what it was really like to now have this? Was it paid in a lump sum? Did you suddenly have to go and hire this team, or were they watching over your shoulder? Because I've always been very standoffish, well, more recently standoffish about raising money because I don't want to have someone telling me how to run my business. So what's your experience been like with all of that?
I think my experience has been awesome. I wouldn't have changed it for anything. So let's just go back. The first time that I ever heard about any type of accelerator programs was actually in the community, in the AAA. I went to a meeting in the morning. I had just woken up and decided to join one of the meetings. And someone was talking about how there's something called the Small Business Development Center and that they would set you up with a free advisor. And I was like, what? I didn't know that this was available to me. So the next day, I looked for the Small Business Development Center in my state. I got connected to them and I got my free advisor, who is still my advisor today. And he is phenomenal. He always shares all of the resources that he can with me. Every time I ask him for anything, he is always willing to help. And it's free. There's nothing I have to pay for this, which is wild. So then through him, I got information about other accelerator programs. And I've also been going out to networking events and the Chamber of Commerce and other things to be affiliated with the community. So from him, I got some resources. And then at my first Chamber of Commerce meeting, I met a guy who told me about another accelerator program, which I also applied to. And now there's so many options, and we apply monthly for these things. So
it's just it's not like once you're in one camp, you can't go anywhere else. You can just continue to put yourself out there. I mean, especially as you've got an MVP to some degree now, right? You have more bargaining chips to go into these things and say, hey, look, this is what we've done. So is that...
Well, not only that, but we have a term sheet. We have already a partial investment. Well, it was a full investment, but it was a small investment, right? For a company like this, it takes a lot of money. You will be surprised at how much all of this costs.
Trust me, I wouldn't be after the stuff I've done with my SaaS. I know full well, but those of you watching this may be surprised about how much you have to pour into to get something off the ground. So, so now the plan is to keep raising money. As we're going to see in a bit, we'll see a little bit of a demo of it. But what is the current stage? You've gone through the funding. You've got the key amount of money that you needed to get started. One, how did you determine how much that would be? And then how have you determined how you spend that? Because I know you've hired a CTO and a development team. What was that process? And then I've got some other questions to follow after that.
Yeah. So let me actually go back because I didn't actually explain how we got this opportunity and how we got funding.
Sure.
So we were not admitted. That's a weird word.
Like a patient.
So we applied for the I2E Bridge 2 program in the state of Oklahoma. Oklahoma has a lot of incentives for business. I think where there is a lack of businesses and then a place that is incentivizing or pushing for business, they will give you a lot more help than other places where there's more competition. So, for example, if you're doing this in California, it's going to be a lot harder for you to get anything because there's,
So many
a
people.
ton of people applying for the same things. If you go to like a Midwestern state like this, and, there aren't that many people applying for these programs.
Especially not for AI businesses.
I don't know. Now
Really?
that I'm in this world, it just feels like everyone is doing it.
No, of course, of course.
But yeah, maybe it's rare. I saw a statistic recently that only 1% of all companies get venture capitalist funding. So maybe we've just been really lucky.
No, not
But
at
I
all.
think it's more perseverance than anything.
For sure.
So we went through the program.
Yeah, carry on. Sorry.
So we went through the program and they actually deposited in a lump sum throughout the
Cool.
program.
Strings
Yeah.
attached?
There are strings attached. We owe them quarterly reports. We have a term sheet. So we have agreements that we've made to them. This is something that either it's a convertible note. So it either converts or we can pay back.
Awesome. Sounds like you've learned a lot. Has this been quite a steep learning curve, all of this VC jargon? Because I mean, a lot of this stuff's even over my head. Like my business partner Josh looked into it heavily for us, but it's even quite far outside of my understanding. So how have you found that learning curve of getting into this world and knowing all the terms and how to play the game? Has it been difficult, or have they made it quite easy on their end?
Well, that's what's great about joining an accelerator program. These accelerator programs actually teach you all these terms. There's lessons. It's like going to class, but
Cool.
with people who are really there and also giving you this funding, and you're building relationships with these people and you're able to ask them questions and you're able to have more advisors. It's been amazing. Like, I never imagined that I would be here in a million years.
Awesome. Okay. So you've got the idea, you've taken it to them, you've got the funding. Now you're actually spending it, and you're in sort of where you are now of having to put that capital to use and creating an MVP. Where have you been spending that money, and what's the process been like for the past couple of months since you got that money?
The first thing that we did with this money is hire a CTO. Our CTO brought along her development team, and it has been just phenomenal working with all of them. It's a local company that also has offshore resources. And I'm going to say they're a wonderful, wonderful team. And we have been able to like stretch out this initial investment for quite a while, which is awesome. And now we have like a full product. It's there, it's functional, you can see it, you can use it. And now we're actually at our beta program testing.
Awesome.
So
That's going to be my next question.
yeah,
So you're rolling it out, getting into people's hands now, and getting feedback. And I suppose you're going to use the MVP that you've got, and also the feedback from users to roll into another round of raising, because you're probably quite far off being able to monetize this stuff, right?
yes. So the goal is to raise at the seed level. And this is kind of like an in-between raise because we do need a little bit more capital to be able to actually develop a more comprehensive roadmap. We have like a full roadmap ahead, but we also want to take in this feedback and kind of focus on what is most important to people. And I think that that's like something that people forget when they're making something. It's not about you and it's not for you. It's for the people you're serving. So actually listen to them when they're telling you something.
And I mean, of course, it's a key thing. I think a lot of people overlook the customer surveying. The founders get scared of talking to the people that they need to talk to about the product. Even we get scared to some degree talking to the people, because you feel like they're gonna, when you know your thing's not where you want it to be, when you have this grand vision for what you want a product to be, and you know that it's falling short of it, you get scared about asking for feedback because you know they're going to say it's not that good. It's like, I know it's not that good, but like I just need some kind of feedback. So actually talking to your customers, and in your case, the beta testers, are going to be really key. So you've
And
got
it's
the
okay to
money.
set expectations. It's okay to say, like, hey, we know that there's this and this and this missing. We are working on those things. If you can give us feedback on what we have and just let us know what you think is missing and what you think would be better to add, please let us know, like
For sure.
it's actually pretty simple. If you are honest, there's nothing to be worried about
Yeah.
because you're just telling people honestly where you are and you're just being transparent with them. And those people will in turn have respect for you because you are being transparent with them. Nobody wants to be lied to. Nobody wants to be sold to.
Exactly. If you want to give us a look-see at what you'd be trying to do over the next year. So where's Bianca and the team a year from now? Is it you're rolling this out and you've got monetization sorted, or you've raised a big round, or you're on the front of a newspaper? Like, what do you want to be doing in 12 months from now?
Oh, I haven't even thought of anything personally or anything like that. No, but the goal would be to have brand recognition. The goal would be to have, 150,000 ARR for the first year, after pilot, of course. So another goal would be to have at least 250 people on the platform at maybe 5 properties each, 1 to 5 each, and to continuously grow it and to get traction on like a national level with this product. Yeah.
So you're going to keep it within the States for the foreseeable future, I guess. You don't really, you got a big enough market there. You don't really need to be trying to go international with it just yet.
Yeah. So the goal is really, we've segmented. So we're in Oklahoma and Texas initially, and we're going to kind of branch out into like the Midwestern states, the Midwestern regions, and then go out towards the edges, and then expand internationally. There's different laws and regulations when you go international. It's a different process for handling properties. So that would also take a learning curve. And we would need people on that side and in those countries to help facilitate that.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I guess if you're going through the Midwest and you're going for areas that may not be as highly competitive, because there's probably a lot of other eyes on this particular kind of AI for property management. But if you can get a solid foothold in the market with those perhaps less attractive ones initially, the big companies may be trying to get California or Texas or the big states. If you can soak out their market share and be kind of grassroots about it as well, I think you could get a significant advantage before they even bother getting in there.
Yeah, well, Texas is a huge market actually. Texas accounts for like 26% of the Midwestern region. Like it is, or mid-central region, my apologies. So it is actually a huge, huge market, and it actually has the largest number of property managers in the entire United States.
Okay, well, it sounds like you got your market.
I think aside from California.
Awesome. Well, with that in mind, just to keep this short, I think a good time now would be to get your tips for beginners who are looking into the space, into the AI space as a whole. I'm not sure maybe where to start or how to get off on the best foot. You've gone from an artist to someone who is tinkering with AI and being very familiar with it, to seeing an opportunity in your own life to apply it, to going out in there and finding the money to get the money that you needed to get this thing off the ground. And now you're going at a great pace towards your goals here. So from what you've learned, if there's anyone who's starting out maybe back where you were, how would you recommend to follow a similar path to you?
Yeah, so I would say have a growth mindset. It's really easy to think that you are set in stone or that your skill set is set in stone and that you only have this direction with your life because of what you know. That's not true. You can always add on to any skill set. You can learn new things. And if you just persevere and you just keep going in those new learning curves, you will make something happen. One more thing. Look up all of the resources that you have in your states, in your vicinity. Look up the Chamber of Commerce. Look up the Small Business Development Center any kind of resources for small businesses that you have in your area, go out and meet people, go out and talk to people, and really determine exactly what you want to do and solve a real problem. Get clarity on that problem.
Yeah, because it sounds like you've found as an added benefit to this whole journey that you've been on, as a form of community in the startup ecosystem within your state. And that's like
Yeah.
the community that you get from, I mean, the friends that I've made, yourself and others, is really what's made this, given me staying power in the space, because I have people to support me and other people that I can kind of share with and learn from. So I guess it's a unique added benefit. And how do you think that's impacted you as an entrepreneur? Does it give you like the people around you to be bouncing ideas off of, to keep your brain in the game? What's the impact of that community been like for you since getting into it?
It gives you so much encouragement. Really, like when you're working with people who are good people, who are also understanding of all of the kind of pitfalls and challenges that you have when growing a business or when starting a business, it makes a world of a difference. When people have been there, and then they can advise you through difficult situations, or you can bounce off ideas with them in those difficult situations, literally will be game changing for you. I would say join online communities. If you have a small town or you live in a small space, like for me, the AAA was really my starting point. It was the best place where I gained a lot of initial knowledge and community. And that made me feel confident enough to be able to go out into my local community and look for the same things there.
I mean, that's why we do it. And I can't believe we've gone from, I think we're basically at a 1 year anniversary today since we launched the program. We started off with obviously you and a bunch of other people at $59 for basically having access to a bunch of developers in a Discord. And we've come so far from then. We've got a team of 20 people that we're working with now. It's been great to have you along, and I'm so happy to see the fruits of our labor and the fruits of your labor now being evident in stories like your own. So it's been awesome to see how far you've come, Bianca. Like seriously, you have come from. It's incredible. It's incredible, and I'm so excited to see where you go in the next 12 months. So I think on that note, we can probably jump into a little demo of your project so people can see what you've been doing, and then we can wrap things up.
I would love to.
Sure.
All right, let me show you. So this is VisiSmart. I've already logged in so that I don't have to re-log in while I'm on here. But
and is this intended to be mobile app? But
yeah,
this is the web version.
Gotcha. This is right now a web application, and our mobile app is going to be launching September 1st. So awesome. In about 15 days or so. Okay, so this is the property manager. This on the left is the tenant, and this on the right is the maintenance provider. Yeah. As a property manager, first you will go to this property icon, and you can add your properties here. So we are on test servers right now, and they're running a little bit slow. So just to preface this, our production version doesn't include these last updates, so I really wanted to show it off here. So these are our properties. We're going to be working with this property. So if you go into this property here, you have your tenants that are associated with the property, and then you have your vendors. You can add a preferred vendor here, or you can open it up to vendor bidding. So there's an entire bidding system. When you have a maintenance issue, it could be sent to one vendor or whoever's in this list, or multiple vendors. And this will be based on the geographical region that they're in and how long or how far they're willing to travel. All cool. Right.
So already this is a lot considering how much money you got.
And it's only been in development since April, mid-April, mid to late April. So it's been like, what, 3 months now? Mm-hmm. Yeah. 4 months now. Okay. So conversation. Let's say you have a maintenance issue like my toilet is flooding.
And if you as a manager would like to send a message to either your tenants or your vendors, you can open up the chat, and there's an AI toggle, which will turn the AI off, and you can input any message you'd like to send. Your tenants will receive it just like any other message.
So first and
Please shut
foremost,
off
they're
the
going to be
water
getting
valve.
immediate responses on things, right? So that's the immediate
Yeah.
benefit to not having to work with the legacy system. You get immediate responses, and in this case, stopping them from flooding the rest of the place.
Yeah. So usually, as a property manager, if you're in a meeting or if you're doing something, there's no way for you to check your phone in that moment. But now there's a way for your tenants to get an immediate response and to get immediate coordination. Like, it's going to be game changing, and I will show you exactly how that works. So please shut off the water valve. Could you provide a picture or video? No, I don't have one right now. All right, so then I'm going to provide my availability. Let's say today at 6 p.m.
Well, that was clean. Usually selecting dates and times like that can be a pain.
And again, we're on test servers right now. It's much quicker when we are on production mode. So this right now, what it's doing, it is creating a maintenance ticket. Now I've received a maintenance ticket here, and I can see it, and there's an approval process. So as a manager, I am going to decide if this is worth it or not. Okay, yes, obviously this is a very important issue. Let's approve this ticket.
And so that was all AI generated based on like what the ticket classification, the urgency level, etc. That's all from
it's all trained.
Awesome.
So then, as a maintenance provider, you will also receive a maintenance ticket.
Once it's been approved.
Once it's been approved. Yep. Okay. Approval has to happen before this is sent out. So I'm going to say, all right, I'm going to charge you $100. And then I'll be there. Accept that. And it goes to the maintenance provider, and it goes to the property manager again. Property manager sees. And if there are bidding set up, and if there are multiple vendors who have submitted quotes for this, you'll be able to see multiple of these, and you'll be able to choose which one you want. So for now, this is fine. I'm going to approve this. So now he's assigned as the maintenance provider. He has the option to accept it or reschedule it. So let's say, 6 p.m. doesn't work. I need 7 p.m. Let's do like a 7:30 p.m. So I can reschedule that. And the tenant will also be receiving this. And all of these are also sending emails out to you to check it. It's a workaround until we have like the actual app and push notifications.
Well, and just accept it, and then it's all done.
Yeah. So now, okay, that's fine. Accept. So now it's been scheduled. And the maintenance ticket is scheduled for him as well. And now he can actually go into that ticket, and there's a maintenance report.
Wow.
So let's say he found a whole bunch of unflushable wipes in the toilet. So it was actually the tenant's fault, because they're not supposed to be flushing the toilet with unflushable wipes. He had to buy a snake. It's, I don't know, $200 to buy the snake. He had to buy some Drano. That was maybe $30. So his total is $230. and he'll submit that. And if I want to, as the property manager, I can actually offload this expense. I can offload this expense to the tenant because they had unflushable wipes in there. And that's basically where we are right now. I'm
blown away. I seriously think you wouldn't have got that much functionality out of the money you got. That's incredible. And like, people need to understand that's MVP. Like that kind of process, that flow back and forth is showing, because I assume you can add in billing to that. You can add in all sorts of, I guess, beyond maintenance tickets, there's other communication and requests that can go in there as well. There's so much more you can add to that. I'm very impressed, and I'm excited to see where you can, when you get this into the hands of the beta testers and get feedback.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. It's a really great foundation to what we have in our roadmap. And when I say that we're going to have a full, like, autonomous property management system, it's coming.
Okay, I won't get you to reveal too much about that now, because you'll have people snapping at your heels. But most importantly, out of all of this is Bianca, and that's why I like having people on the channel, is to shine a light on the stuff that people are doing in the space, and particularly our Accelerator members. So anyone is interested in getting in touch with Bianca about joining the team, providing additional capital, coming on board, bringing more expertise. I love this example, because it's you had a problem that you've wanted to solve, and you've gone out there and you've found the resources. And this is really where the AI space is special, because you can marry up the development talent with these unique problems, and there's a lot of money to be made in these solving these problems. So if anyone wants to get in touch with Bianca, there'll be links down below. And of course, thank you, Bianca, for your time. This has been awesome to check in with you properly and get an in-depth report on what you've been doing. And I'm looking forward to seeing, as are everyone else on the channel, we're looking forward to seeing you continue to grow in the space.
Thank you. Oh, and if there are any property managers or landlords that you know who this could serve, connect with us.
There you go. We'll leave some kind of form where you can connect all that up. That'll be a great way to get some people in the hands of you. So yeah, Bianca, thank you so much. And we'll be talking to you very soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Liam.